How often should you text someone that you like? And should you always initiate, or should you wait for them to initiate? So I did another video on how soon to text after a first date. You can watch that one. But just as a quick follow-up to that video, also wanted to address how often should you text, and should you be initiating text communication with someone that you're interested in. I did a blog on my WINGMAM'S site, and it was for men on how often to initiate communication. And I said that in the early stages, when you're still courting and you're not really in a committed relationship of any sort, then you want to let her come to you 3 times for every 1 time that you initiate a communication. And when you're actually dating, then you would initiate twice for every 3 times that she initiates with you. And then when you're actually in a committed relationship, you're going to be equal, 3 for 3 or 1 for 1. So I had a woman actually comment on this post. So she read the guy's blog and she said, well, what about if you're giving the same advice to women? Which I am, because I give both men and women the same advice. Always leave them wanting more. And the reason is that I give it to both men and women is because generally, if you are, whether you're a man or a woman, at the beginning of a new relationship, there's usually one person or the other who's more anxious and more interested and more into the other person than that other person is with them. So whether you're a man or a woman, if you're the one that seems or feels more desperate, needy, attached, or interested, you're the one that's got to actually play by the rules of trying to hold back a bit, because you want that other person to want to come to you. Now, if you're both like totally into each other, then yeah, great, go straight to one-to-one texting. But you'll know based on how quickly someone gets back to you if they're as interested in you as you are in them. And if you're not getting the responses right away, then you want to pull back on the reins and give them a little bit of space and allow them to come to you. So whether you're a man or a woman, you want to allow that other person to find you desirable. And what is desirable? Scarcity. Diamonds are desirable because there's not very many of them. Diamonds have value because there's not very many of them in the world. Sure, a cubic zirconia sparkles almost as much as a diamond, but do you think any woman really wants to get a cubic zirconia? Not so much. Why? Because diamonds are valuable. It's the same principle for men as it is for women. The easier it is to get, the less we value it. And there's a whole assortment of psychological reasons for it. It doesn't mean that it's fair. It doesn't mean that we like it. It just means that it is. So if you're the one that is more attached in the relationship, you're the one that needs to pull back and let the other person come to you more often until you're both at a place where you are equally engaged in the relationship. And just because the other person doesn't want to come to you as much as you want to go to them doesn't mean that they're not interested. They may have just come out of a bad relationship, or they may have come out of a bad relationship a long time ago and they're still hesitant, or they may want to go slower, or who knows, they may have stuff going on in their lives. But don't get all nervous and panicky just because they're not going at the same pace as you are. The best thing you can do if you're going way too fast is to go out and get a life, because that's really attractive. And then that allows the other person to come to you because you've got something interesting about you, and it also gives you both something to talk about. So you're just gonna, if you're the one that's anxious, then just pull back a bit and don't worry about it. And if this person isn't into you, well, guess what? The sooner you discover that, the better you'll feel, because you can get out and find someone else who is interested in you. Don't get caught up and all invested in a relationship that's not meant to be for you. The right person is out there in the world and they will be ready for you, even if they're not ready to go at the pace that you are. So hope that helped. I think that's it. So I'd love to know from you if you've ever been in a situation where you've been the one that's been way too anxious in a relationship and have been initiating way too often. I'd love to hear your story or short story in the comments below. And as well, wait, there was an as well. What was that? Oh yeah. And as well, remember, as I mentioned in my other video, that texting should be more for exchange of information, not general communication. You want to be able to have something to talk about in person, and you want to be able to have that excitement about getting together in person or on the phone or by Skype, so that you do have something left to talk about. So really kind of limit your text until you're actually in a relationship, and then you know you're both invested and you do want to hear from each other. So that's it. Yeah. Thanks for watching.